Hello, greetings, all of my budget boys and scrimpin' squids. Welcome to the video. You might think that as the formidable economic demigods strengthen their inflated iron grip around your purse strings, it would be nearly impossible to buy a brand new factory fresh motorcycle for less than $5,000. But you'd be wrong. I'm coming at you with 7 different motorcycles today that are all available brand new at the price tag of less than $5,000. This segment of the market definitely looks a little different than it did a few years ago, but regardless of the insubstantial girth of your Hello Kitty change purse, you can get on a safe, reliable, and fun two-wheeled machine for less than $5,000. So without further ado, let's talk about the best new motorcycles for under $5,000. Today's video is sponsored by our friends over at Chin Mounts. I will tell you more about them later in the video. First up, we're going to talk about the best small bikes from Big Red. Honda, while often capable of demanding a premium price tag for their larger bikes, actually has quite a few budget-friendly motorcycles in their lineup. The first bike worthy of your price-conscious contemplation is the Rebel 300. Honda gave up the busted old Rebel 250, the pretty woman treatment back in 2016 to appeal to a new generation of riders into leather play. The Rebel 300, now stylized in modern blacked-out bobber livery, is pretty much the best metric cruiser you can get in the sub $5,000 price range. That's a pretty easy claim to make, as I don't think many Yamaha V-Star 250 riders would be willing to die on a hill espousing the merits of their little air-cooled goblin. Conversely, the Rebel 300 is an entirely modern beginner cruiser. It has a liquid-cooled 286cc single-cylinder engine, making power to the tune of about 24 ponies. This motorcycle also has a 6-speed transmission, a feat that even the Evo Sportster could never accomplish in its 40-year production run, which makes it a lot more pleasant for cruising at speeds above 60 miles an hour. You really don't want to have to be banging off the rev limiter in 5th gear just to keep up with traffic. The Rebel 300 has really good fit and finish as well, with LED lighting and the quintessential beefy front tire that no modern bobber can do without. Lastly, the Rebel 300 has a super approachable 27-inch seat height, so the vertically challenged should have no issue confidently mounting up on the Rebel. And without ABS, the Honda Rebel 300 runs you $4,749, which is a lot of bike for the money. Another motorcycle from Honda that is just barely sneaking into the criteria of today's video is the CBR 300R. Honda's entry-level sport bike is using the same liquid-cooled 286cc power plant you'll find on the Rebel 300, though the CBR will titillate those with a predisposition for the illusion of speed rather than the implication of daddy issues that may come from the Rebel 300 rider. The CBR 300R will be more ergonomically involved compared to the lazy boy rider triangle on the Rebel, but is still far from the compromising true sport bike ethos would have you believe. The CBR 300R sits a little taller than some beginner bikes with a seat height of almost 31 inches, but the 354-pound curb weight should make the whole package pretty manageable for just about anybody who can't afford a Ninja 400. I'm just kidding, of course. While the Honda CBR 300R isn't always ranked highest on the list of best beginner sport bikes, there are always countless factors in determining which bike is a good fit for you. Price, availability, and that indescribable way a certain motorcycle can just make you feel like a schoolboy falling in love for the first time. And if the CBR 300R satisfies your personal Venn diagram, then don't waste any time thinking about all the mean things that the R3 Chads and Ninja 400 Kyles will say about you behind your back. They're just jealous because your Soichiro Honda visits you in your sleep every night and leaves little nuts and bolts around your bedroom for you to find in the morning. And hey, it's better than a Gixxer 250. The MSRP for the Honda CBR 300R is $4,899, and that's pretty good value for money. Since you're going to be able to save some cash by pursuing a cheaper bike, that means more money for riding accessories. Once you've got your helmet, boots, and jackets all squared away, I think you got to get yourself a chin mount system as well. Chin Mounts makes action camera mounting systems designed specifically to fit on your unique helmet. Helmet cameras are becoming increasingly popular these days, not just for motovloggers and content creators, but riders of all types. Just like a dash cam in your car, a helmet cam can come absolutely clutch in the case of an accident or an incident on the road. With a helmet-mounted camera, you can have cold, hard proof. In a less serious context, having a camera mounted on your helmet gives you the opportunity to document some of your favorite scenic rides, or even just give you an opportunity to capture some high-speed thrills that you can use to flex on with your buddies. And if you're a content creator who likes to share your riding videos on social platforms, Chin Mounts allows you to mount your camera vertically so your shots will fit perfectly in the vertical aspect ratio you find on Instagram and TikTok. They have over 300 model-specific mounts, which means you no longer have to fiddle with generic mounting hardware. It's really easy to use and really competitively priced as well. And because you're a loyal Yami Noob follower, you can go to chinmounts.com/Yami and use the code Yami for 10% off of your order. Again, that is Yami for 10% off your order. Thanks to Chin Mounts for supporting the channel. Now back to the video. All right, this next one I really wanted to talk about. Actually, I haven't talked about this one on the channel yet. Newly available to the American market is the Honda XR150L. Unfortunately, you will be hard-pressed to find a brand new 300 class dual sport from one of the big four for less than $5,000. But now, all of the budget-conscious kings won't have to bend to the whims of Chinese imperialism to buy a dual sport motorcycle in a box from Amazon, which is honestly just fantastic. Now, for the low price of $2,971, you can get a practically full-size dual sport from Honda, the world-renowned champion of reliability. Is the XR150L stripped back and, dare I say, antiquated? Most certainly, but if this motorcycle exists solely to stop people from buying boxed motorcycles, it gets the Gaming Noob stamp of approval. The XR150L is powered by an air-cooled 149cc thumper, making an indistinguishable amount of power. This bike is rudimentary in just about every way, rocking a carburetor, a rear drum brake, and a Timex watch face for a speedometer. But its minimalistic approach is intentional, both to retain the incredibly accessible price point and make this thing practically unkillable. This bike has been sold in other countries for years, and people claim them to be workhorses. The XR150L is a motorcycle born of a different era. Hey bro, you're finally awake. You must have hit your head pretty hard there, huh? EVs, Cyberstore, 200 horsepower? Come on man, we're gonna be late for the Rick Astley performance at the Waterbed Emporium. Again, the XR150L is practically a full-size dual sport bike despite its diminished engine, having a 33-inch seat height and a 282-pound curb weight. It is widely recognized by riders in the countries where this motorcycle has been available prior to the 2023 model year that it is capable of getting over 100 miles per gallon and 300 miles per tank, which is kind of insane. The Honda mini bikes, including the Grom, Monkey, Navi, Super Cub, and Trail 125, all cost less than $5,000 as well, but I wanted to keep this list exclusive to full-sized bikes today. You guys think I should pick up an XR150L just to see what it's about? Dual sport content doesn't do that great on the channel. Maybe I'll reconsider. The next motorcycle on our list of sub $5,000 beauties is the Yamaha MT-03. Yep, you can get this one for less than $5,000. Not by much though. Yamaha unfortunately blew the polyurethane bucket on the R3's plastic and knocked it out of our price range at $5,500 today, but luckily for you, my friend, the MT-03 is a bit more scantily clad, and Yamaha passed the savings on to you. The MT-03 is Yamaha's entry-level naked motorcycle powered by the same 321cc parallel twin you'd find in the R3. This bike makes about 42-ish horsepower, which is not bad for such a little guy. Compared to other naked bikes, the MT-03 is not as punchy down low, but it revs out a bit higher than a single-cylinder would. The MT-03 has an upright and comfortable seating position with a wide and flat handlebar. It's been updated with Yamaha's Dark Side of Japan styling, so you can pretend you're a katana-wielding assassin going after John Wick when in reality your name is Todd and you work at the badminton department at Dick's Sporting Goods. The MT-03 is a pretty nice package for the price, coming in with upside-down KYB forks, LED lighting all around, and standard ABS. The MT-03 has a seat height just shy of 31 inches and a 373-pound curb weight, which is pretty standard stature for a motorcycle in this segment. The MT-03 has an MSRP of $4,999. Yes, it's $1 less than the $5,000 thing, but we're still technically correct, which is the best kind of correct, really. I'm lumping the next three motorcycles all into one segment because they're fundamentally the same, and cue the Royal Enfield simps in the comment section me telling me that the minute differences between the Meteor 350, Classic 350, and Hunter 350 all make them completely different motorcycles, each worthy of their own 15-minute video, but alas, they must succumb to the Gaming Noob bird eye view and be combined into one list video segment. Each motorcycle here is powered by an air and oil-cooled 349cc single-cylinder engine that makes about 20 horsepower and 20 foot-pounds of torque. These are just really simple workhorse machines meant for lower-speed commuting around town. The Meteor 350 is more of a cruiser-style bike with the lowest 30-inch seat height and teardrop fuel tank. The Hunter is a bit more cafe racer style with sculpted gas tank and a more horizontal handlebar, and the Classic 350 has that post-war British roadster style with big fender, shiny chrome, and those funny little vintage mufflers. The Hunter is the most newly available in the US and has some more updated features like bi-brake brakes, a digital dash, and a USB charging port, and personally, it would be my choice of those three bikes. The Hunter 350 is the lightest of the bunch as well, weighing 399 pounds compared to the Meteor and Classic, each weighing at 421 pounds and 430 pounds respectively. And guys, that's kind of heavy for a bike with a little engine like that. Each one of these motorcycles come with dual channel ABS as well, which is a nice inclusion for added value, although likely not entirely necessary on these bikes. I don't know, maybe panic braking for wandering cows on the roadways of India is a common occurrence. Actually, I know that it is because I rode in India, and that happened. The pricing always varies slightly for bikes from Royal Enfield based on the paint schemes, so I would just make it consistent and use the most expensive option as the baseline. The Meteor 350 costs $4,900, the Hunter 350 costs $4,200, and the Classic 350 costs $4,700. Seriously, the Hunter 350, kind of a good buy. That would be my choice. I'm going to combine two bikes into one section again because sometimes there just isn't enough fodder to dedicate an entire section to two motorcycles that are practically identical at their core. But the next two motorcycles on our budget bike bonanza are the CFMoto 300NK and the 300SS. CFMoto, a manufacturer from China with an American headquarters in Wisconsin, has been breaking the internet lately with their motorcycles that defy expectations of what many riders and internet political commentators seem to think of the Chinese motorcycle. I've ridden some bikes by CFMoto. They've gotten their 15 minutes of fame here on the channel before, and they're pretty good. The 300NK and 300SS are CFMoto's interpretation of the bigger sport bike and beginner naked bikes. They're each running a liquid-cooled 292cc single-cylinder engine, making 29 horsepower and 19 foot-pounds of torque. The 300NK is going to be a little bit lighter and a little bit cheaper, and the SS is also falling victim to the plastic tax that leaves fully faired bikes a bit pricier than their naked counterparts. These bikes have upside-down forks, dual channel ABS, LED lighting all around, and a 5-inch TFT display. The CFMoto 300NK costs just $4,200, and the 300SS costs $4,500. Not a bad value if you don't mind the CFMoto smartphone app gives you directions in inches and uploads all of your embarrassing baby photos to LinkedIn. Just kidding, of course. Except for the part about navigation in inches. That does happen sometimes. Seriously. And the last motorcycle on the list today is the Duke 200. In most circumstances, would it be advantageous for a rider to save up a little bit more coin and get to Duke 390? Likely so. But we're playing the best bikes under $5,000 game, and the Duke 200 is probably a better motorcycle than, say, a Yamaha TW200. Unless you're looking for a motorcycle to replace your aging donkey and you just really like wheelbarrow tires. The Duke 200 is powered by a liquid-cooled 199.5cc engine making 26 horsepower. I was very specific on the displacement because I couldn't decide whether to round up or down, so we'll stick with the straight facts and say 199.5. The Duke 200 is dual channel ABS and WP Apex suspension, but it is not equipped with many flashy farkles as you'll find on the 390. A word of warning, the baby Duke isn't super well equipped for every type of American riding, but we also have a huge international following here on the channel, so for the right demographic, this motorcycle will serve its purpose well. And hey, maybe your commute is all surface streets and you just want crazy good gas mileage on an inexpensive motorcycle. You never know. Anyway, the Duke 200 costs $4,200, but if it were me, I'd get a TW200. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you're new to riding, we have a huge catalog of content catered towards beginners and are always dropping new videos, so be sure to subscribe so you stay in the loop. Thanks again to Chin Mounts for sponsoring the video. Be sure to check them out with the link in the bio. See you later. Fact: during the Cold War, the Soviet Union had a secret project called Project Stargate to create psychic super soldiers. They researched psychic abilities like telepathy and mind control, aiming to train soldiers who could influence battles with their minds. Declassified documents revealed the existence of this project, showcasing the extent to which governments explored unconventional military advantages. Goodbye.
Keep watching Gaming Noob!